Yeah.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Clearly Distorted podcast, the podcast where we discuss our clearly thought out ideas shared through our distorted lenses. I am Damien, aka the Shower God, also known as the Devil's Advocate. He is Julian. We call him the Prolific Hater, and he has a whole bunch of names that he calls himself.
But we need Damien to start respecting this. So far we got Cock of the Walk, which he said no to, right? You're standing by that, right?
Right, you have to go back to the drawing board.
Okay, and then we got my globule prince. You're not gonna say that either, right?
You can do better.
You're
an MC, son.
I got a new one
Let's hear it.
for Damien. Damien, I would like you to call me Ramrod.
Listen, come up with a name that's not putting me in an awkward situation. How about
None
that?
of those put you in an awkward situation. It's all about me. That's it. It's all about me.
Ramrod.
What's wrong with Ramrod? What's wrong with Ramrod? You gotta adjust my mic here. Sorry. Ramrod. What's wrong with Ramrod?
Maybe I mean, when I hear the term, I have a certain visual in mind.
Right. So what does it mean to you when I say Ramrod? So I'm taking it. This is another no. This is another fuck off, Julian.
Yeah, it's pretty close to that category there. Yeah.
So it's a fuck off. Okay. All right.
Or just back to the drawing board.
No. I'm clearly taking offense to all of this shit. You see the smile on my face and you think I'm joking, but I'm actually hurt that you won't call me the Cock of the Walk.
You're intentionally coming up with shit that you know I'm gonna have a problem with.
Damn, I would call you Cock of the Walk if you came up with that name.
That's great, man. I appreciate it. You and I are two different people.
Can you just try it out?
I'm not saying it.
Just one time. Just it'll satisfy my whole. I just want you to say, try the new one. Just say, Julian, a prolificator, aka Ramrod.
So how you been, man?
Okay, been good. Been
Yeah?
good. Yeah, been pretty good.
That's good.
How about yourself?
Yeah. Same old same. I'm good,
Kind of light week in the news, huh? Yeah. This is gonna be light this week. We've had some heavy hitters the last couple of weeks.
And the whole week went by fast for me. Like yesterday, I was like, "Oh shit, it's Thursday."
Yeah, I agree. The week has gone by fast, and
not much happened.
Yeah, and I don't feel like the news has been as there's been some pretty bad stuff that's happened even this week. We're not going to really cover a lot of that stuff. We just want to keep it kind of lighter this week. But hopefully we'll be having Patricia join us pretty soon. I believe tentatively it's going to be this coming week, but no promises. We're going to see how everything plays out. But again, she's doing well. We just, some things she's got to get adjusted, but look forward to seeing her soon. So, Patricia, see you soon.
Yeah.
And besides, Daym and I got some crazy ideas. We're gonna implement one of them today, and it's gonna be real fun once Patricia comes back. So just stay tuned because we got some stuff we're gonna try to do.
Yeah,
Liven this shit up a little bit.
have a little fun.
Yeah.
Episode 18, man. Episode 18. I can't believe we're gonna hit 20 soon. Usually say it at the end, but I think we'll say it at the beginning. Please subscribe, like, share the videos. About 20% of our viewers are not subscribers. So if that's you, click pause, back out, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, set your notifications, then come back in. We'll be right here waiting for you.
And leave a comment. The more engagement that we see, we're gonna try to reply to the comments for sure. But yeah, just be involved in the conversation. If you have any suggestions, any topics you might want us to cover, even if it's not something totally relevant, but something that might be an interesting topic, just leave a comment. Let us know.
Yeah, comment on YouTube or hit us up in the Facebook group that's set up just for that. Let us know what's on your mind.
Yeah, and by the way, if any of you think that Damien should rethink his disrespect towards me and the names I'm requesting, please comment. Say, hey, Damien, we like
People
Cock of
have
the Walk.
spoken, man.
No. We don't have enough of an audience to determine that. So
but who are you asking then?
Well, whoever's out there.
Exactly.
Whoever's tuning in.
I posted a poll, man, and the people said, you know what? They're on my side.
They're not on your side. A no answer doesn't mean they're not on your side.
Those that answered riding with me, man.
That doesn't mean anything.
It does.
People leave a comment and say we want Ramrod or we want Cock of the Walk. So anyway,
see where that gets you.
Well, I think Damien will see it's what the people want. He's a man of the people.
I am.
All right, there we go. So Cock of the Walk it shall be.
People have not said so. Let's see where it goes from here. Let's see how it goes.
If it takes 18 more episodes, it's gonna happen, guys. Keep hope alive.
It'll be episode 1800. Daym still won't say it. Come up with a new one, man. You can do better.
I've been coming up with new ones every week, and you keep shooting them down.
Yeah, because you come up with ones that you know I'm gonna shoot down. I got your game, buddy.
We'll see.
Where you want to start today, man? Wild shit going on in East Palestine, Ohio. Not.
Yeah.
There's some wild shit going on over there too, but let's keep it local. Norfolk Southern Train derails in East Palestine, Ohio. And shit's looking real crazy over there. Have you seen any of the pictures of the any videos of that shit?
Yeah. It not quite as large as that explosion that happened a couple of years ago. That I don't know if you remember that one. I forgot what country it was in, where it looked like a nuke had dropped.
You know
what I'm talking about? Yeah,
sounds familiar.
But it does definitely kind of remind me of that in the sense where it's just shocking to see. It really is. Like, I mean, I don't know what to make of it. I don't really know too many of the details as far as what caused it, and I know the aftermath. There's a lot of chemicals and stuff involved in it. But
this one, the derailment isn't really the crazy part of the story. It's the aftermath.
Yeah,
that is just like, what country do we fucking live in? So on February 3rd, the train derails, right? But it's about 50 cars long. Were no injuries, which is great. Um, First thing that kind of raised an eyebrow is the train wasn't designated as a high hazardous material train. So normally, what a train carrying these materials would be designated as such, and each state that the train is going to pass through is notified. So I don't know what preparations then they would then go through, but they would be aware at the very least that this train carrying these hazardous materials is coming through their state and these towns. Step number one goes wrong. Train goes off the rail. First responders get there and they find evidence of one of the trains is leaking this vinyl chloride, uh, which is used to make plastic. So then they evacuate the town on the 4th. I think, I don't know how many miles away from, maybe 5 or 10 miles out from the crash. A lot of people decided not to evacuate on the 5th. The remaining residents were ordered to evacuate because they were going to, because this chemical was leaking, they were going to have to do a burn off, which would release all kind of toxins in the air. And so,
Yeah, right.
they're like, everybody's got to go. February 6th, they do the control release of the rail car chemicals. Crews released chemicals into the air. And then the vinyl chloride was slowly released from the 5 rail cars and ignited. And that's where we saw that large plume that you could see from like fucking outer space.
Yeah, that's the one where I'm looking at it and it's like shocking to see. Like it's
Yeah.
just like the aftermath of the initial derailment, to see that plume of smoke and so black and just so high up. It's crazy.
So that was the burn off of the vinyl chloride. Now this is a flammable carcinogenic liquid that's already linked to a number of cancers. And they're just best way to get rid of it is to just burn it off in the middle of the city. I don't know if that's a procedure we need to revisit, but after that, then they moved all the cars off the track, so that they could be relocated to a safe area, and then they could begin their. The NTSB comes in and does their investigation. That's the National Transportation Safety Board, right? So then evacuation orders lifted. The chief of police said that the air and water samples determined that the evacuation area, which covered, it was a 1-mile radius, was safe for the residents to return. They might regret that one day. That shit goes on for a few days. February 13th, a video of the train prior to its derailment pops up. So there was a video of this train captured 20 miles outside of the city of Palestine. Sparks were shooting from under the train, flames were coming out. This is 20 miles ahead of the city. So train conductors already have to know there's an issue, but they just keep on trucking. The authorities claim any air pollution and contaminants have been contained. However, residents are complaining of skin rashes, and I'm seeing videos of this shit. Like people have rashes all over their face, their arms. Some residents are having like lingering coughing. Thousands of dead fish found in the rivers and creeks and streams. They have a town hall. The mayor's there. He's taking a beating. And Norfolk Southern never shows up to the town hall. They claim they feared for their lives. They feared physical harm. They were going to get beat up at the town hall. Why would you feel that way though? Like if you're doing right, like okay, the accident happened, right? It's done. Now, if you're doing everything that you should be doing after the fact, why would you feel like people want to beat you up? Or do you feel that way because you know you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of times, like when there's a shooting and they fear that there's going to be riots, I think a lot of it is just a manufactured excuse to not show up.
Well, they didn't show up. Instead, they offered 1.5 million in aid to the area, which I can't imagine
That would even be
that's
doing
even
much of
close to
anything.
being enough. Yeah.
It probably
It's
it probably costs more than that to clean up the train.
right. There's supposedly the municipal water has been tested and that seems to be fine. But this area is like kind of semi-rural, so there's a lot of people who have well water, and that water hasn't been tested. These people don't know if it's safe to take a shower or not. All they're living on is bottled water. Um, so, and it's this is it's been 2 weeks now that this has been going on, and no one really has any answers. The mayor really can't answer anything. The governor, nobody really has answers. They're all depending on Norfolk Southern to do what they're supposed to do and answer to them. But they're just like, you know, you see people with, pumps or hoses going into the rivers and creeks. Reporters would go ask them what they're doing. They would say, here's a 1-800 number, call Norfolk. These are subcontractors out there. So they're like, I don't want to get in this shit. Here's the 1-800 number. You call a 1-800 number and no one answers. You don't get any information. So no one has a clue what's going on. So at this point, they have had criminal lawsuits filed, there's class action lawsuits filed against this company, and it just doesn't seem like there's really any pressure on this company to do what they should do.
Would the reaction be the same from a local government if this was in Beverly Hills? If this was in Midtown
Right.
Manhattan? Instead, I feel like, and most people feel this way, right? It's bowing down to corporations.
Yeah.
It's basically par for the course. This is why nobody trusts companies, nobody trusts vaccines, nobody trusts anything the government says. It's because when we have things like this, whether it's polluted water in Michigan or slow reaction to a hurricane or whatever's going on where the government is failing the citizens because of some disaster that's happened. And like I said, with the earthquake in Turkey and everything, we see this with government all over the world. It's not just here in the States or whatever, but you would think the way we brag about what type of country we are, we wouldn't see this shit. There are people there, right wing, left wing, and all in between, white, black, and all in between, that are affected by this. It's no different than being kind of uprooted from your home, right?
Yeah.
What's the point of living somewhere if you can't drink the water? If it's not safe to breathe the air? What's the point?
And that's the thing, is like we just don't know how deep this is gonna go. Like, if you're a farmer in this area, are your crops safe? Like, this
Or any
shit's
business,
shit's in the
any business
soil.
you would have over there, it would be devastating.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't I don't trust that we're gonna get the real answers. But I think if like someone came out and really did what they were supposed to do, they'd be like, the water ain't safe, the air ain't safe. Like this city needs to cease. Like Chernobyl. Like it's over.
Right. No, God forbid, we can't shut down production, right? Like they can't shut down businesses, and even if it wasn't, if everything is shut down anyway, the idea that a government would be able to admit or anything to that effect that they didn't respond well and we have to shut it down or have, I mean, who's going to be ultimately responsible for this,
Well,
right?
there's a theory out there. It already Biden's getting blamed.
Yeah, of course he is, right?
This
But
this this
what's the theory?
town, the town voted heavily in favor of Trump.
Right.
And so that's the reason why
Hmm.
Biden's not providing any aid.
Yeah. Yeah. um Again, that's really silly. Hey, maybe Biden derailed the train purposely over there to spite them. It's just like, it's just like I guess they're consistent in that thought process, right? Because some of these people believe that God sends hurricanes to areas that have sodomy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've heard the Republicans like, oh, that's, they're doing unholy things there, and the gays, and that's why God sent that hurricane over there. Like, this is the same type of people who believe in this kind of nonsense, and also the same type of people who, like
That's
DeSantis,
outrageous.
will, it is outrageous, will send immigrants, promise them something and send them somewhere where the liberals control whatever, and it's just nonsense to think that Biden would have anything to do with this. He's too busy. Don't they know he's too busy shooting down balloons? Like, I got time for that shit.
Yeah. I don't know, man. People, I don't even know how it got that far. Like it jumped past the company responsible, jumped past the mayor, it jumped past the governor. This shit went straight to the president's desk.
See, but that's my point, right? Because government, and just there's so little accountability when it comes to corporations and the government, it opens up conspiracy theories to run wild, because there is some level of truth to some of the narratives that promote this stuff.
Well, here's the thing. When you really think about it, it's this is gonna sound crazy, um, but they kind of brought this on themselves because when you vote in that fashion, those are the people that tend to want to do away with regulations, things that would have kept this from happening.
Right.
They don't want to have strict guidelines on businesses or corporations because they cost them money. And then there's going to have to be a government agency that oversees that and keeps up with it. And no, we got to have small government. We got to do away with, um, monitoring corporations. And then they're able to get away with operating a train that shouldn't be on the road because this train had issues prior to this. There were
Right.
some people in the company that felt that this train was too heavy and too long, but then the owner of the company said that this particular rail line that went through Palestine has had longer and heavier trains. Um, but yeah,
That's, you got to consider wear and tear, like, is a factor, right? So just because it's had heavier loads doesn't mean that when you see fucking sparks shooting out of the thing
right.
that
There's a
it's just
problem.
going to work right. Right, there's a problem.
And then why
And you're
wouldn't
right,
you stop?
because the idea that money has to be spent to fix things like roads and railroads and buildings and any kind of infrastructure, um it's absurd. The fact that they don't want to invest in these things and then later on point the finger when something disastrous does happen.
Yeah. But I don't know. You know there's an issue 20 miles before you derail and you just keep on trucking.
Business comes first. Business comes first. Let's get it done, and worry about it later. I said this a couple of weeks ago, right? Human nature, we're more reactionary than anything. We're not as proactive as we'd like to be. And that's just been proven within human nature. I'm sure most of it is centered around greed. But if you really use common sense, how much money is this going to cost that company? In the long run,
Nothing. I'm
what is
sure
it
they got
going
insurance.
uh, between reputation and just a lot of things, it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them. It's not going to cost them in a way maybe we want it to happen, but it's probably far more than taking the right precautions would have cost them, in the beginning.
Yeah. They didn't want that shipment to be late, so wheel sparks and catching flames, but no, let's keep pushing. It's only one wheel. We got a bunch
Yeah,
more.
yeah. Hey, just do a chemical release. So why not?
There's got to be a
Why not?
better way to do that. There's got to be a better way. I don't know.
It might be the only way to do it with the way that whole thing was set up. I'm sure there's a better way to do it if they took the right precautions to begin with, but that probably was the only way that they can handle the situation at the time.
Yeah. That is something that we'll probably be watching for the next decade to see how this shit plays out. Because until they start doing soil samples and testing the water in these rivers and these wells, why do you explain thousands of, the contamination is supposed to be taken care of, but there's thousands of dead fish.
They're just fish. I don't understand it. It's just the way it is. That's the thought process behind it. Probably it's just, hey, it's just fish. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we're gonna be fine. Or maybe that happened with the initial release of the chemicals, and now everything will be fine. I mean, if it's just a fish, it's in the water. If it's in the water, anybody who was having any kind of contact with the water or anything in the water it could potentially be affected. So, yeah.
Right. But I would imagine those streams and creeks are connected to the wells. Like, I'm sure that aquifer is feeding the same water source as the wells to these homes. So what's to say that it's not seeping into there and from the water into the soil?
As far as water testing is concerned, that's relatively easy. I mean, you can buy a water test kit yourself and test out the water. And I'm sure a lot of citizens have probably deemed that it's probably not really safe. It might not pick up every chemical because you probably would have to have like some professional grade or whatever, but I'm sure they can tell whether the water is drinkable.
But that's the thing, is just it hasn't been done.
Like I said, I think somebody has. It's just not reported.
I would think it would be reported to the mayor, to the local
I'm I'm
government.
I'm I'm sure the mayor knows. Is my point.
Oh, and saying that it's bad, but he just don't want to tell the people it's
They're
bad.
they're just not talking about it right now.
Because he was in the middle of that town hall, like, "Hey, I'm just as pissed as you. I don't know why they didn't show up. I know they feared, for their safety, but I'm on the phone with them every day. I know they were doing something, but he
Right.
had no
Like I said,
real answer for the people.
a water test, and you know this
But
in
you
your
would have to test
profession.
like every person's house. You know what I'm saying? Like every
No, but
well.
you can test the source. Like where X amount of people are getting their water source from, whatever, the well water. You can test that. And if somebody went in their home and tested it, chances are that if their water comes back shit, everyone in the area, you probably wouldn't want to take that chance, right? Like you would
Yeah.
say, okay, I haven't tested my water, but my neighbor over there did, and turns out if I drink that water, my grandchild is going to grow an eye out of their fucking forehead or something, right? So yeah.
Man, I don't know, man. I feel for them people. small town. Seems like one of those towns where everybody knows everybody. But
Well, they'll just have to move to bigger towns, and not be Republican.
there's that saying. They say, "Be careful what you ask for because you just might get it."
Yeah, yeah, that'd be funny if they broke up that entire district because of this shit and it turns blue in the next election. That would be hilarious. Be like, see what the liberals did? See what Joe Biden did?
We got some UFOs, bro.
We do.
We got some unidentified flying objects in our airspace, and we shooting them shit down.
Yes, we are. It's like a damn video game.
Shooting them down. So we know we talked about the Chinese spy balloon, right? A couple weeks
China
ago.
balloon.
And so then last Friday, an unidentified object, as they seem to be referring to these things, was shot down in Alaskan airspace. Another unidentified object was shot down over Canada on Saturday. Then the U.S. military shot down another high altitude object over Lake Huron, which I think is in Detroit, Michigan, I should say. That was on Sunday. The government is saying that there's no indication that any of these have any links to China surveillance balloon. So it's not China. The Assistant Secretary of Defense uh, for Homeland Defense and Hemispheric Affairs, Melissa Dalton, said the high altitude objects can be used by a range of companies, countries, and research organizations for purposes that are not nefarious, including legitimate research.
So I don't know. I'm really ignorant to this stuff, right? So I can see companies flying drones,
Yeah.
helicopters, airplanes. Shit, they launch satellites, right? But you're telling me that objects the size of what do they say they're size of, like a car or whatever, a small car or whatever, flying in airspace, you're telling me that there's absolutely no like clearance that they get when they have to do that, companies?
Um,
I mean, when you're flying something at a certain altitude, it can be dangerous because of airplanes, air traffic and all of that stuff. So you're telling me that companies just do this shit all the time?
I think so. Um, I think they probably would go through getting some clearance locally. And, from
Okay,
dealing,
so if you're a company and let's say you have some sort of research thing going, or you anything, whatever this would be, don't you think these companies would have by now said, hey, that was our thing that just got shot up?
I think one so far has come out. I think the last one that was shot down was identified by some company. But I mean, it could be that many companies doing it and they don't know whose is whose. Um, I don't know what the question that seems to be is why all of a sudden are we seeing this? Why is it occurring so much? We heard Biden say that this stuff isn't occurring any more frequent than it ever has. So what it seems is
Does he mean the objects or the shooting down of the objects?
the
It's
objects.
definitely right, because it's not normal for us to shoot these things down.
I think at this point, after the Chinese spy
Their
balloon
reaction, all right.
and them catching shit for reacting slowly in some opinions, they're just taking everything down like
Well,
immediately.
Dame, listen, it's clear. The elephant in the room in this situation is this. All of those things they're shooting down are Republican made. And Joe Biden's just having a shit show with it, right? It's like, oh, fuck your drones or whatever the hell you guys got up here. I'm shooting it down. But in all seriousness, this is great for conspiracy theories, right?
Yeah. Oh
Conspiracy
yeah.
theorists, right? Everything from aliens to advanced weaponry and
Yeah. I mean,
just spy technology and all of this stuff.
we
Like,
we the alien things is a no go. These uh I don't even know what you call them. These flying objects would not make it through.
UFOs, they're
Okay.
UFOs.
These UFOs would not make it through the atmosphere, flying through the Earth's atmosphere. They just wouldn't make it. And they even
Right, that's what I was saying the other day. Right, so if they
right.
were flying in from space, given their size, likely they would burn up, unless they have some super cool advanced tech that we don't know anything about. But I'll say this: here's my issue. So if the government wants to shut down any kind of rumors or panic, I'm sure the jets and stuff and the missiles that shot them down, they have some sort of footage and cameras on them. Release one. Release one.
They have.
Okay. Just it's not a flying saucer and it's not some, you know, airplane or something where it's controlled by like another country or whatever. Just release the footage.
So the press secretary said, I just want to make sure we address this from the White House. I know there have been questions and concerns about this, but there is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity with these recent takedowns.
That almost, see, you know what I'm talking about, right? That almost makes it seem like just a fucking lie right there, right? Because think about it, if it was aliens, they would make the same fucking statement. It would be the same exact statement if it was aliens.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, yes. But I mean, they've gone so far out of their way to declassify like all of the old like alien shit and Area 52 and like there's so much shit that they've declassified and released, and they are acknowledging as a government finally that these things are happening. So I don't see why they would now be trying to hide it again. I don't, for what, I mean, there can't be a human being on this planet.
This adds to the distrust of government. Again, another situation where it could be something totally benign, but nope, everyone's looking at it through a cynical lens. It reminds me of that movie, and I know you aren't a big fan of watching movies like that, but that movie Don't Look Up, right? So it was sort of like a not a parody, but it was just mocking how the United States would react if, let's say, an asteroid was heading for us and we had months to prepare.
I watched that.
Yeah, I know you didn't finish it because you weren't like into it, but you have months to prepare and we start coming up with all these stupid political angles to, kind of clear ourselves. Meanwhile, impending doom is upon us and we just do nothing about it, So this is where the distrust of government comes in. If the government says, hey, there's nothing really to worry about, well, it's immediately raising eyebrows just when the government says that, because we have limited information and they seem to, but we know they have more information than what they're giving out.
Well, it seems like, so there's two statements that I read that just seems like this shit's been going on forever. We just didn't have the capabilities to identify it. So U.S. intelligence community The U.S. intelligence community's method of tracking China's fleet of surveillance balloons was only discovered within the last year, according to 6 people familiar with the matter. So China had been doing this shit. We're just now able to figure out that they're doing it. And then the findings have allowed the U.S. to develop a consistent technical method for the first time, which they have used to track the balloons in a near real time across the globe. So we're only now able to identify these things and track them. That's why we're seeing so much of it.
Yeah,
It's been happening. We just
and we
able.
still can't seem to identify what it is, which again, I don't believe that for a minute. I think they know what they're shooting down. I think they're aware of what they're shooting down.
Maybe they just now today, I believe, finished recovering the Chinese balloon. So that's 2 weeks ago. And the areas where these other balloons are shot down, or these other UFOs were shot down, are like remote areas. They're not easy to get to. So
yeah, I read that.
I think, time will tell.
But
when
they should have some sort of understanding of what it is that their missiles are targeting. You know what I'm saying? They
but
should.
we talked about that the other day, the off camera, but that's classified. We're not going to see that on the news.
Okay, but here's my thing, Daym. If it was some guy who built a drone, who put it up there, and he got shot down, they would say, yeah, some moron who built a drone, a huge drone or whatever, and was flying it. If it was something so easily explainable, it wouldn't be like, oh, this is classified. Unless there's something to make it classified.
You have to consider the optics of that as well.
But they do this all the time, right? When people report weather balloons and they think they're aliens, and immediately they come out, officials, and say, "Oh, yes, those are weather balloons. Those were flares. Those were whatever it is." Even to the point where they'll say, "Hey, that was a military test. That was some military, experiment." Yes,
but you're talking about civilians spotting something and taking it for something else. We're not talking about the U.S. Air Force spinning up F-22 Raptors to go shoot it down and then having to say, oh, it was just Jimmy Bob's drone. Like they would.
But if it was Jimmy Bob's drone, if it was, they would say it was. They would be like, hey,
they would rather it be unknown and mysterious than say we shot down some fucking guy's drone.
We spent $500,000 on a rocket shooting down something that probably the guy bought it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do not think that would Amazon. Be widely reported.
Right, because it makes them look crazy, right? They're shooting down all this stuff. But I still personally believe that would be better than what we have now. This shit fuels the Alex Jones of the world.
They don't need it. Listen, Alex Jones put his socks on and comes up with a fucking conspiracy theory about that. I mean, who so what?
Well, being that we're both lizard people, we shouldn't even be talking about this, right? And peel our face off and lizard people, like the way he thinks that they're walking among us.
Or this could be the actors.
Damn, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I have no idea what you're talking about, but yeah. No conspiracies here, man.
The Illuminati.
We'll give it away.
First rule about Illuminati is saying there's no Illuminati. How does that go?
I don't know.
You don't talk. First rule about the Illuminati: don't talk about the Illuminati. Whatever, man. whatever, man. We got trains running off the tracks. We got unidentified shit flying in our air.
And we got Joe Biden's tired looking ass just having zingers. He's looked like he's having a good old time, man. Between the State of the Union and him playing with fucking jets and shit, like he just looks like he's having the fucking time of his life.
Kind of having a fit. They want the U.S. to pay for their spy balloon.
What fucking balls? Fucking neck on those motherfuckers. Like, seriously? Like, your whole government is sitting there saying that the U.S. has to pay for this shit? You gotta get out of here.
Man. This shit's like almost unreal. But it's real.
You can't even make that shit up, man. Yeah. It's like, can you imagine the outrage over there? It's like, how dare they shoot down something we put in their airspace? How dare they?
And then I didn't intend to get into politics with this, but it's like the Republicans gave Joe shit for not responding quick enough, even though days before they shot it down, he gave them the green light. The military responded when they felt it was best, or safest to respond. But somehow still that's Joe's fault. Then more shit comes into our airspace, and he's like, shit shooting down immediately. And now they're like, what is it? It's the Wild Wild West. We just shooting every fucking thing now.
Right. Now all of a sudden they're worried about optics and peace, and yeah, I'm sure they'll be complaining about the environment. Be like, look what happened in Ohio, and now we're using jets and shooting down small little drones. But yeah, it's a lose-lose situation. It doesn't matter what he does, what he doesn't do. Of course, the opposition, they're gonna find some way to complain about it, but he does look like he's having a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's enjoying this shit. And meanwhile, we got Russia trying to fly into our airspace twice this week.
That's going to be a thing now.
It happens. It happens. They say like 8 to 10 times a year. It's normal. Russia is very close to Alaska. You could fucking throw a rock from Russia to Alaska.
You can see it just like Sarah Palin.
Right. I can look out my porch and see it. Mm-hmm. So this is not something that doesn't. This is something that they're used to happening. They're intercepted. They get back on course or whatever. It usually doesn't happen twice, like in 2 days, though. So,
or at least we know of. Like, we don't know. We really don't know how frequent this is. But one thing I do know is the way we're reacting seems to be a little bit. For me, it's a little bit alarming. Because if it's nothing and they're reacting to it, then that tells me that we really can't protect our airspace the way we think we can. And then if it is something and they're not telling us, well, then that also poses, different levels of fear. So either way, whatever it is, it's not good.
It's like shit talking on a grand scale. It's posturing.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Daym, somebody is going to prove who got the bigger dick. And that's the whole point.
But we have the bigger dick. And they know that.
Yeah.
They've seen it.
They felt they felt it.
See, I wasn't gonna go that far. But
I'm surprised you played along with that one, but yeah.
I mean, talking about our military. They don't want no parts of that, man. That much I know. And they know. The fucking Ukraine is kicking the shit out of them. They're freeing prisoners to go fight against Ukraine because
Yeah.
they're losing soldiers by the thousands. So they really don't want it with us. That's why they're all getting chummy with China, because they got a 1 billion-man army, but we'll fuck their ass up too.
I don't want to see that, but yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see war, period, but yeah.
It's the wrong approach, Daym. Just calm the fuck down.
I am. That was me calming down. That's what that looks like.
I don't know if those headphones aren't on. I think I see some smoke coming out of them shits.
Nah, man. Listen. War is inhumane, and humans are not built to experience that shit. Nobody should go through that.
It's always the wrong decision in my mind, but that's debatable for a lot of people. But anyway, moving on. Interesting story. I think this isn't going to be the end of it. I think we're going to see a lot more of this shit. I really do. Maybe not just in the States, but
you know what?
In Canada.
I would be fucking excited if it was an alien.
So would I. In fact, I hope that if this ever gets fully disclosed that, we do have like aliens, I hope I'm alive for that day. Like, I hope like 200 years from now, the world just accepts that aliens just come every once in a while and peep shit and keep it moving. If that's the case, I would like to know that for certain.
I think the world has always acknowledged that. It's this millennia that just acts like it never happened.
Yeah, well,
literally the writing is on the wall.
Right, in pyramids and stuff like that.
Right.
But here's the thing, though. I think religion, it goes against so many religions and the idea of religion that we can't possibly acknowledge that. And the idea that society would go crazy and we wouldn't be able to handle the idea that there's some more intelligent life coming to visit us, I don't think so. I think Americans are cocky enough to say, you know what, we'll blow them the fuck up if they, we saw Independence Day. Like,
right.
We really would have that like mindset.
No, you're probably right. You're probably right.
I mean, shit. And if Ukraine is holding their own against Russia, and Russia and China is still ballsy enough to send little balloons and drones here or whatever it is they're doing, then they would be on board too. They'd be like, fuck those aliens. We can all take them out. Like, it's just the way, you're right. It's the way the world is right now. Like, I think we just all have these like incredible egos as human beings.
If you're a thinking person, not super smart or whatever, just someone just who thinks, you cannot not believe that there's other life form other than this planet.
Sure you can.
How?
Because those morons don't even believe that there's an outer space.
What?
Who? Oh, you haven't heard of these conspiracy theorists that believe that it's all fake?
No.
Yes. Some people have. I have a friend of mine. He can't even comprehend the idea of time and space. So it's like, okay, you see a star. The light that we're getting from the star actually happened millions of years ago.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. That's like 1,000 miles away. What are you talking about? Like, that's what these people think. I've heard them. I've talked to them.
Yeah, I have not come across these people, fortunately.
All you got to do is just look online.
I mean, I'm not
The,
going to
the
search out idiots, bro.
the next time Neil deGrasse Tyson,
I love him.
yeah, he's my idol. He's from the Bronx side. As far as like science stuff, like I totally admire him as well. I watch his Star Talk all the time. But Neil deGrasse Tyson, if anytime you see him on his show or when he does his Star Talk, if he's talking about space, if he's talking about any of that stuff, you got the conspiracy theorists out in full force in the comment section.
Mm.
Anytime you see Bill Nye,
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
I've never gotten his comments. I should get in the comments and see what's going on out
Get in the
there.
comments. Now, a good portion of them are going to be science heads, nerds and stuff, because I mean, we love this shit and
Yeah.
we love to talk about it. But there's always this segment, especially when Neil deGrasse Tyson is going after the conspiracy theorists, the flat earthers and everything, when he's actually presenting real evidence, real things that it's common sense, right? It's like if the earth was flat and the sun is reflecting pushing the light behind the moon or whatever, our moon, the shadow on the moon would actually have like a line across it.
Just something simple
Of the
like
shape of the flat earth, right? Like,
yeah,
but
something simple
no.
like the horizon or watching a ship disappear. That it wouldn't disappear
No,
the way it does.
Daym, you don't know the reason why they believe that. Like I know what they would tell you. They would tell you, Daym, those ships, they just fell off. Nobody was really
I
even
can't,
on
I
those
can't, I can't, I
ships
can't deal. No, see, I would see. There's a reason. There's a reason why I don't come across people like that
because
because
you don't have the patience for it.
I
Neither do
don't.
I.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I have a friend of mine. I hope you're not watching, bro. But he's totally just fucking wild with the way he believes. Like I had a debate with him that he says that okay, the Earth is flat. Dinosaurs didn't exist. It's all fake. Yeah, he even made the stupid comments like "the fuck out of here," like Godzilla walked around, and I'm like, bro, Godzilla is a total thing of fiction, but there were dinosaurs. We do have the evidence for that. Nope, he don't believe that. Also, doesn't believe that we have satellites in space. Doesn't believe that we even have a space.
So
Like
what does he see when he looks up?
when he thinks that the stars and the moon are like close to the Earth, the flat Earth or whatever, and it's not like light years away. That's what he thinks. He has no real explanation to why he believes it, other than the fact that they lied to us. They, who the fuck is they? I guess it's just everyone, the
You got to
government,
do better
everything.
than that. I mean,
No, they don't
I'm
actually.
up for. I'm all up for. Opposition, as I'm called, the devil's advocate. But you got to do better than that. You got to do better than that.
You know me. For years, I can't stand conspiracy theorists. That's the one thing that, even on a small scale, like
I
I have
think
an
they're
issue with it.
fun.
They're dangerous. They're dangerous. A lot of them are dangerous
Some of them, yeah, I agree.
because if it starts dictating schools, science, dictating what religion and how religion, like if you're a religious group, you can remove science and actual factual things that could go against the idea of God existing. They don't want that shit. Like we can't have it. You and I, we both. I do feel like there's intelligent life out there, but I'm not totally convinced that they've visited us either. I'm not totally convinced on that.
I'm
But
thoroughly convinced.
I'm there with you, but with all the cameras and all the tech and everything that we have, we would have had by this time not some grainy ass footage or a lot of the stuff that we see today. It's mostly CG, it's mostly fake. Then the legitimate ones aren't usually clear enough for us to really understand and know what we're seeing. So I'm not convinced that we have them visiting, but I am convinced that they do exist. And I am convinced that there are things unexplained that are flying around out there that we don't know what the fuck it is. We don't know if it's, we don't know. And that's what I'm convinced about. And of course there's life on other planets, but a religious person
You don't
can't
think that
agree with that.
an intelligent species, if desired to go undetected, could operate in such a manner?
Sure, I do. Yeah, we have stealth planes now with our primitive stuff. Sure, if some alien ship was here and they were able to get here, I'm sure they'd have some technology that we couldn't compete with or even understand. Sure, that could happen. I said I'm not totally convinced. I didn't say that I was like, no way, man. Like, you know.
There is no doubt in my mind.
I feel that. I have no debate on that. I'm just not quite there. Down with aliens,
I
down with
think,
the
I mean,
UFOs. I'm just not
I
convinced.
get what you're saying today, but I mean, maybe they haven't visited, you know, at the same frequency. Maybe that's intentional. Maybe because we have achieved, you know, certain technology that we may be able to identify them or, you know, see them coming. Maybe they're avoiding that. But there was a day and time where they were walking the earth frequently.
Okay, now you're taking that to. I'll say this: maybe we're the aliens,
I don't doubt that either. When
descendants of that.
there's and I'm not even joking. There is I wasn't prepared to talk to this, otherwise I would have looked it up. But there is a study of DNA where they broke it down like every so many years there's a slight change in DNA. And they took it back to a point where it seems as if something was added to the DNA. Like we could have been bred. I'm dead ass serious, bro. This is a study. We're gonna have to revisit this on the next episode.
Let's definitely do that. Let's put that one aside and and revisit it in our own UFO little ships, right? We're gonna revisit this topic.
Yeah.
So Daym.
Yeah, man.
I want to play a little game, bro.
Would you like
you
to
down
play
for a
game?
game, bro? Yeah,
I love
it's
games.
not would you like to you
I always fuck that up, don't I?
You fuck that up. It's like we're gonna play a little game or whatever, you know. It's not like, hey, come on, let's go play a game. Like,
would you like to play a game?
Now, where do you get in this? Would you like to?
I don't know. That's the way I remember it.
You sound like
how does it go?
You sound like some creepo who's talking to a prostitute that he just brought to the house.
It's a fucking doll riding a tricycle. How creepier does it get?
Come here. Would you like to play a game with Big Daddy Shower God? You know, like, come on, bro. Anyway,
what's your game?
We're gonna play a little game. Yeah. Anyway, oh my gosh, it's a guy who doesn't watch horror films quoting one. Stop.
I saw it once years ago.
Okay. So anyway, the game is, now we've seen this before, right? Where you basically ask someone, what do they prefer? Now, I got a couple of little things, a little bit of a twist or whatever, and just some of the categories and things that I thought of to put on here. So we'll just start. We'll let it roll. So, Daym.
Yeah.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Cats. All right. Tracy McGrady or Vince Carter?
Vince Carter.
All right. And by the way, keep it just one word answer. Okay, Vince Carter. Patrick Ewing or Joel Embiid?
Patrick Ewing.
Tim Duncan or Giannis Antetokounmpo?
That's a tough one. Oh man, that's a tough one.
Come on, you got to give me one, man.
I gotta stick with the big fundamental.
All right, so Tim Duncan, it is. All
Hmm.
right, Luka Doncic or Larry Bird?
I'm go Bird.
All right, that's actually not bad. Um, Godzilla or King Kong?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
It's Godzilla, bro. Come on.
I haven't watched either one of them and give a fuck about either one of them, but yeah.
He beat him in a movie. Okay,
I
Godzilla.
don't even know that. I wouldn't even know
We
that.
we need to have this conversation later on.
Uh,
So Damien,
yeah.
mints or gum?
Gum.
Pudding or Jello?
Jello.
You don't like pudding?
I like pudding.
How about it? Do you like when do you like me putting my nuts in your mouth?
See, I knew you. I knew
Put it,
something.
I'm
It was
I
too
fucked it up. It's
suspicious.
actually putting these nuts in your mouth. Yeah.
It was too. When you said, "Do you
I
like?" I was
fucked it
like,
up
"Here we go." I
totally.
was like, I
All right.
already knew. I already knew you had something crazy coming.
Kendrick Lamar
Mm-hmm.
or J. Cole?
J. Cole.
All right. Nas or Jay-Z?
Jay Z.
Get the fuck out of here.
Jay Z.
DJ Premier
Uh-huh.
or Dr. Dre?
Primo.
Wow. Would you rather have telekinesis or telepathy?
What is telepathy again?
So you can read someone's mind.
Telekinesis. I can move things with my mind, right?
Yeah. You could just move things, yeah.
Telepathy.
That's interesting. Would you rather have love or the lottery?
Mm. Love is like hitting the lottery, man.
Good answer. I'm sure wifey is watching. Um, would you rather serve 5 years in prison? You lose 5 years of your life in prison or 10 years of your life in a coma?
Do I full recovery after the coma?
Yeah.
I think I'd take the coma.
Which do you prefer? A handy J or a dry hump?
A handy J or a dry hump?
Yeah.
I gotta go handy J, I guess.
You go, Dame. Like that answer. Would you rather be a famous singer or a famous dancer?
Dancer.
All right. So the next group of questions, it's one has to go, right? So beer has to go or weed?
Beer.
Beer. Okay. If God came to you and said, I'm taking one of these things from you, but I'm going to let you choose. And he says, either your vision or your ability to hear.
Here.
One has
Because
to
I
go.
couldn't imagine another day without looking at my beautiful wife.
Oh my gosh. He is hemming it up, ladies and gentlemen. She better watch this episode. This is we should call this my wife's episode. That was beautiful, Damien. I really like that. If you could remove something from the world, one has to go.
And I wouldn't have to
Violence.
hear her bitching.
That was priceless. I mean, you get the best of both worlds, right?
That's it.
Oh
Peace and
Lord.
quiet and admire the beauty. Can't get better than
That's
that.
I wonder how she's gonna feel about that, but stay tuned. So yeah, like back to the one has to go. So in the world, violence or sickness?
Sickness.
You'd
Oh, you
rather
said
get rid of
wait. I thought you said violets, like the flower. You said violence.
violence. Violence. So if
Ooh,
you could remove one thing from the history of the world, would it be violence or sickness?
violence.
Good. Good. Okay. And
Sickness we can cure.
the last one on this segment, I got a couple other questions.
Okay.
Laughter, gone, or sex, gone.
Laughter.
Hmm. All right. So the next things is also would you rather, but this is a little bit different.
Like
So
this is like one of those psychology tests.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm totally analyzing you. At the end of it, I'm just gonna have a one word answer for who you are. There's no like
That's what I feel
assessment.
like. That's what I feel like this is.
I think that I think it's gonna be two words. It's gonna be lying fuck. But anyway, so would you accept the ability to predict the future, but anyone who ever makes eye contact with you can read your mind? Would you accept that? So it's an ability with a huge flaw at the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I speak
That
my mind
shows
anyway.
that shows you're have some honesty. Okay, pretty good. Would you accept the ability to fly, but that means you can never walk again?
I'd have to answer that one fly. Yeah, yes.
All right. And
I've
the
been
last
dreaming
one,
about flying since I was like a child. I've been infatuated with it, so I probably could not pass that up.
I think I would too. I would too. So would you accept the ability to be cool to everyone you meet, like super cool, and you're also super rich, but you would be a white man with a micro penis,
As opposed to what?
as opposed to who you are now?
Nah, I like
Would you
me.
accept if God came down and said, Damien, I could make you the coolest guy in the world. Everyone who meets you thinks you're the shit and you're super wealthy. You have everything a man could want, but you'd have to be a white guy and you'd have to have not a small penis, not an undersized penis, but a micro penis.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with me.
I like that. And that's the test. And I'm looking at the assessment here. Oh yeah. Is that your sound effect for the
Tabulation.
for the computer? Yeah. Lying fuck. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Good answers, Dame. I thought that was pretty good, man.
Yeah, I like that. That was fun. That was fun. Yeah, come up with some harder ones though. The
I
hard,
was trying to.
the hardest one. The hardest one was Giannis or Tim.
Yeah, you really struggled with that
Yeah,
one.
that was hard. That was hard.
Well, if we're honest, I came up with these in 10 minutes before the show, so it's not like I put too much thought into it. So yeah, we were a little bit light on news, so I said, yeah, I got an idea. Let's try it, and then I came up with these silly ass questions, but that's the fun of it.
Yeah. No, that's a good time. We should do more of that.
Oh, we got to do this with Patricia. I want to corner her, put her ass in a corner, if that's even possible.
I was gonna say you'll never. She has no shame.
Yeah, yeah, she will answer the questions without hesitation. I think. Yeah.
No shame. Well, music and movie recommendations. So
It's time.
it's that time. Nothing really dropping this week, so I got a little creative. Um, I thought it would be only fitting to recommend everyone go listen to 3 Feet High and Rising.
One of my favorites.
by De La Soul. And this week was the 5th anniversary of Nipsey Hussle's Victory Lap, which is another album I absolutely love. I can listen to it from front to back. Which dropped right after he passed away. So can't even believe that's been 5 years. But that's what I got. De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising. Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap.
And speaking of 3 Feet High and Rising, Trugoy the Dove passed away. And I know we're going to get into that, but I got to talk about it because I got to mention the album and what that album, along with the rest of the Native Tongue family, Flavor Unit, all of those people, just what they meant to me in hip hop, mean to me to this day. I feel like aside from the original MC bravado type image, right? The Run DMC, the battle, KRS-One, aside from that whole Native Tongue crew was the purest form of hip hop. For me, it's the soul of hip hop. When I hear De La Souls, I know everyone likes the Me, Myself, and I, right? That was like the huge hit. But for me, I like Plug Tunin. I love Potholes in My Lawn, and
Plug Tunin was a
I
big
love
hit.
Buddy.
Potholes in My Lawn too. Buddy
No,
as well. Those are smashes, man.
But the big hit that they had was Me, Myself, and I. That was the mainstream one that came out. And
I mean, that was their first. That was their very first single, wasn't it? That's the first.
No, it was Potholes in My Lawn. It was Potholes in My Lawn. It was not.
I'll take your word for it. That's your era.
Yeah.
Was it the same album?
Same album. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. In fact, just a little tidbit you might not know, they actually kind of made that as a bullshit track because they needed to fill up another song or whatever for the album, and that was kind of a bullshit track. They didn't even take it serious. Me, Myself, and I, and it turned out to be a huge hit. But more on De La Soul in a bit, but great album, classic album. Definitely even the Me, Myself, and I video was fighting against some of the tropes that hip hop was starting to develop at that time, which ironically now most of us want to go back to those tropes today. But what they were trying to do is just set a new sort of style, something that was more expressive to who they were personally. So, big up to them.
Yeah. What you got, man?
Woo! So I got here 2 documentaries. So the first one, I may have mentioned it earlier in one of our first episodes. Not too sure, but it's a documentary called The Fear of 13. I will always recommend this documentary, mainly because seldom do you see any kind of documentaries where it's just a man and a chair and a man is talking and he's telling his story. And
is he sitting in the chair?
He's sitting in a chair and he's telling his story. And it's so captivating because the story is so outlandish. If you like prison films like Shawshank Redemption or Escape from Alcatraz or even A Green Mile, anything like that, and you watch this and you listen to this, half of it is a prison story. The other half of it is just a petty crime story, and it's just wild as hell to hear this guy tell the story. And believe it or not, there's actually a twist at the end of it. Not a twist where you get the fuzzy feels or anything. It's quite dramatic, but there is a twist to the story towards the end. So excellent documentary. It's called The Fear of 13. And the next recommendation I have here is called simply Apollo 11. And in this documentary, there's no narrative at all in the documentary. It's just showing all the footage and everything remastered in HD from Apollo 11 and the whole build up to the whole event. And they show everything from the way the news broadcaster was, the way the crowd was anticipating everything, the preparation for the ship and the astronauts, and the whole thing. Amazing documentary. It came out in 2019. Apollo 11. Check it out. History buffs, anybody who loves science, anybody who thinks the moon landing was fake and thinks, all of this stuff isn't real, watch this and hopefully you'll learn something new. So check it out.
Nope. I thought I saw it till you called it a documentary. There was a movie about this, right?
Yeah, but this is just all it is just footage. And
So yeah, I
when you
saw the
see
movie.
when you see what actually goes into something like this, it was a huge national effort, thousands of people, and you see the footage of just so much of it, and it's rare that you get documentaries that there's no narrative, not much thematic music, no flash or anything, just incredible footage, stock footage that's been remastered. So just to see some of that stuff and the way they made it look, it's amazing onto itself. But if you're into the history and you want to see it, that's the way to go. So yeah.
Sounds good.
And that's all I got.
You like my hat, man?
Yeah, explain it to me.
Is
Let's get to that with a
let's get to that.
Smile face.
Shout out to Zip with the Drip. That's his saying. Let's get to that. Let's get to that. Like, it is basically fuck all the fluff. Like, let's get down to the meat and potatoes. Like, let's talk about it, is what he's saying. Let's get to that.
Right.
It's his slogan. Yeah, he's got a line of this out. And what is it? Sandboxbullyshop.com. Go check it out. Let's get to that. Come in all kind of colors, everything. Some different styles, but I like this one. Those fly. So let's get to that.
Okay. It's nice.
Zip with the drip. Yeah, man. Well, I always hate doing this, but it's important to pay people their proper respects. And as you were mentioning earlier, we lost Trugoy the Dove this week, who was born David Joliker. We know him as Trugoy the Dove or Pluck 2 from the legendary group De La Soul. Died at 54 years old. Don't know why at this point. All we know is that he did suffer from congestive heart failure. So we don't know what the cause is still. For those of you who aren't familiar with De La Soul, maybe you're not old enough, maybe you forgot, but they were kind of like the pioneers of being true to yourself in an era where everybody was baggy clothes, dark sunglasses, big dookie chains. Like, everyone had the same look.
The jumpsuits, the Kangol, and yeah.
De La Soul was like, I just want to look like me, myself, and I. And they kind of made it cool. They dressed like hippies, kind of colorful shit, and they made it dope to be themselves, not follow the trend. So I was
I was going to say, and just like I was saying earlier, when you think about the groups that they came out with, right? You had the Jungle Brothers, obviously, who came before them. But then you had groups like A Tribe Called Quest. You had obviously Queen Latifah, Moni Love. You had, all of these groups and MCs kind of doing the same thing, right? They were all kind
all
of
their
expressing
own.
themselves.
Yeah.
When hip hop was becoming a little bit stale and a little bit, you remember how mainstream started categorizing hip hop, right? They would see a rapper and they would be like, yo, yo, and they would mock the way rappers. It started becoming almost like they was like a self-parody, and they weren't in on the joke, right?
Right.
So here comes De La Soul. They come out with some of these other groups, and they kind of pushed us into an era of creativity in hip hop that I still think is unmatched, within that time.
They're probably the grandparents of backpack rappers.
I don't know if I'd say that, but
no
I
De La Soul. We don't get Kanye West.
We don't get Kanye West, but with a lot of these, yeah, we might not get the Kanye West. We might not get the Mos Def. We might not get, the Roots. There's a lot of MCs, a lot of groups that definitely seem to be influenced a lot by not just De La Soul, but specifically the Native Tongue family.
Right.
Yeah. So,
the saddest part of it all is, as instrumental as they were to hip hop, they never were able to capitalize on it. They went through decades of litigation. They barely made any money on their music.
yep.
They went through decades of litigation fighting for the rights of their music. Haven't been able to capitalize on the streaming era or anything like that. You can't find their music anywhere. They finally win, get the rights to their music back, and he passes away.
Do you know the origins of his name, Trugoy?
Yes, I do.
So it's yogurt spelled backwards because he was fond of yogurt.
He loved yogurt. Yeah.
Right. And then the other two members, Pasta News, Plug One, Sop Sound, and then the DJ is Mace.
They were weirdos, man, but they were dope.
They were different. But you could tell that some of the rhymes and the lyrics and even their sampling was quite revolutionary. Some of the things that they did was just not only against the grain, but that they put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
Like today, when somebody says there's a new unique rapper, just because they're doing some weird, silly shit and wearing these big old red boots that you see now, you know what I'm talking about, right? Those red cartoon looking boots and shit.
I've seen them.
Everybody's creativity just is like on this extreme end where, with theirs, there was some real serious thought put into a lot of the things that they were doing. And part of it is because the music that influenced them from their parents had a strong influence, and they kept that going.
Lose the great ones too soon, man. 52, was it?
54,
52,
I thought.
54. That's too young. That's way too young.
We're not far from that. So,
Yeah, you speak for yourself.
Oh, come on, Dan.
That's
you're close to the 50. You're closer to 54 than you are 20. Oh yeah.
I'm closer to Georgia than I am China. What the fuck does that mean?
It means what it means.
Oh, man, I got a decade to go before I hit that. How about that?
Okay. It's not too far from now, bro. Think about how fast the last 10 years went.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to think about that. Anyway.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Trugoy the Dove. Up 2. Then that news was followed by Raquel Welch, who was an American actress. I didn't really remember too much about her.
And model.
I remember I didn't remember her as an actress. I remembered her like as being like a sex symbol, like a supermodel, like. But
Yeah, she was before our time. I mean,
she
we
was a pretty good
we
actress as well.
yeah.
Apparently, she was had some awards under her belt. So I didn't want to take that from her. But 82 years old, Raquel Welch, rest in peace. You were you familiar with her?
Somewhat. Wasn't somebody who's been on my radar. Like I know she's a pretty big sex symbol back in the day,
Yeah,
and that's as far as I know.
that's a shame. Why we only know her for her looks and not her talent? That's bad.
Her talent, what's her looks?
No, she was an actress, man, and she was.
Yeah, it's just poor humor, poor taste,
Oh yeah,
tasteless humor. But yeah,
sorry, I missed it. Yeah, that's horrible, man. What's wrong with us?
that is the world, man, and that's been the world for a long time. Unfortunately, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And then following that, got the news of someone uh close to me personally, someone who guided and mentored my entire military experience. Sergeant First Class Rick Bailey was 71, weeks away from 72. Served over 30 years. I want to say 35, not sure exactly, for sure over 30 years on the Florida Army National Guard. He took parts in operations from rescues in Hurricane Andrew in the 90s, as well as Charlie, Francis, Ivan, and Jean in 2004. He's telling me stories about his time in Panama. So he did his time for his country and had a big impact on a lot of the people that he came across in that time frame. So rest in peace, Sergeant Bailey.
Rest in peace.
Well, man, it only leaves one thing.
One more thing, and that's quote of the Daym. Daym, what you got?
I don't know who needs to hear this. I think you're gonna like this one, man.
You've been
If
on a
you
roll.
if
Oh
you
yeah.
remember, let's see. If you take 3 glasses of water and put food coloring in them, you have many different colors, but it's still the same old water. Make the connection.
Prince Paul.
Prince Paul.
That was so good.
Yeah, man. Hope that doesn't go over your head.
Absolutely not.
Episode 18 in the books. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Peace.